Welcome, everyone, to the Learning LinkedIn Workshop in a Box. Thank you all for attending this program over Zoom today. Keep in mind that workshops in a box are not videos that you can show your students. They are workshops for you to facilitate in your library. All of our workshops in a box are set up so that once you have seen how we run the workshop, you'll be able to use all of the same tools that we used, the PowerPoint, the handouts, exercises, and you will be able to teach the workshop in your own library. The way it's going to work today is that Kristen is going to run this workshop for you. You are to behave as if you're Kristen's students who are here to learn about learning LinkedIn. During the recording of the workshop, we would love for you to ask questions, make comments, etc., as a student would who would be attending a workshop on learning how to use LinkedIn or learning LinkedIn. I am also sure that you will have questions about how to teach this workshop, but I'll ask you to hold those questions to the end, and we will have time to debrief at the end of the session. So whether you are here on the Zoom with us or watching the recording, you will be able to access all of the materials used in today's session in Canvas. We will provide you with instructions for using the workshop in a box materials, the presentation itself, the slides with the speaker notes in them. The slides contain those speaker notes to help you facilitate the presentation. And any handouts that were used in the session will also be in Canvas. Although we're running this workshop as a Zoom session, we do expect that most libraries would be working with their patrons in person, as workshops are a great way to drive traffic into your library. The resources, questions, and pacing are the same, whether you are teaching in person or remotely. So before we start, let us know if we can answer any questions for you, either as your role as a student or when you should be asking questions about how you will teach this workshop or anything else just before we start. Any questions right now? Okay. So I think we're ready to get started. Please remember to jot down any instructional questions for the end of the session and enjoy being a student learning LinkedIn. Kristen?
Thank you, Sarah. I actually am going to add in just one more thing about this particular workshop, and that is that for LinkedIn workshop, there's a couple of prerequisites for your students, for your attendees. Your students or your attendees really should either have a copy of their resume or at least have started taking notes on their work, their educational experiences, have some dates, etc., so that they can start creating a LinkedIn profile. If your students have a LinkedIn account, you want to make sure that they know their username, which is typically their email or their phone number, and you want to make sure they know their password so that they can modify their LinkedIn account while they're in your session. If your students are creating a LinkedIn account in your session, they really do need to have an email. Their email address should not be tied to their current employment, because then they won't be able to access LinkedIn, any of the email from LinkedIn, if it's tied to their current employment. So it should be a personal email address. If you need to help them create one before the session, just make sure that it's at least professional sounding. You don't want it to be some sort of cutesy email that they've been using on Hotmail since they were 8 years old or anything like that. So you want to make sure that although it's not a work-related email, that it sounds professional. And then during the session, especially those who are going to be creating their LinkedIn profile, they need to be able to access their email. They can do it on their phone, but if I'm creating a LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn is eventually going to email a code to me that I need to be able to then use. So if they can access their email on their phone, they're good to go. So those are some of the prerequisites. They're listed in the PowerPoint presentation so that you can make sure you check in on all of that with your possible attendees before the session. So pardon me, just wanted to add that in, but now I'm going to start teaching LinkedIn, unless you do have a question. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I want to say hello, everyone. My name is Kristen Brogy. Welcome to our LinkedIn workshop, or our Learning LinkedIn workshop. Before I start teaching us about LinkedIn, I'm actually going to jump in with a couple questions first. And you can, I think I can see everybody, so you can literally raise your hand on the camera. You can unmute and talk to me, whatever you want to do. Who here has at least one social media profile? I see all the hands. Okay. What social media do you use? So from the list here, I use Facebook and Instagram. I know a bit about Twitter, but I don't actually use Twitter. And I've seen TikTok videos, but I don't use or really create anything on TikTok. Anybody else?
I'm kind of ditto to you.
Okay.
I'm Facebook off this list.
Facebook. Okay.
And I use everything but TikTok, but I do not use Facebook as much as I could.
Okay. Interesting. Sounds good. So we all understand what social media is. We all hopefully understand the information that you're putting out there and how people can see anything that you're posting on social media, even if they aren't always necessarily connected to you. So I find that to be really helpful in terms of starting with LinkedIn, because at least you have an idea of how the information is put out there and a bit about how people are going to find you. Did you notice one that we missed from our list where we had Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok? What were we missing?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. We were missing LinkedIn. Not everybody thinks of LinkedIn as social media, but it really is a really powerful social media platform. Some of you may not haven't used LinkedIn because you haven't been active in school, or you've held the same job for a long time, or you haven't been job searching. So LinkedIn is going to be really useful for all of that. And I just want to know who here has a LinkedIn account right now. Okay, we all have LinkedIn. I'm going to step away from teaching for a second and just say, I'm still going to walk you all through how to start a LinkedIn profile, and I'll show you what I did with that. Did you know you can use LinkedIn on your desktop computer, but also through a mobile app on your phone or your tablet? Does anybody use both of them? Sarah does. Doris does. I'll be honest, when I'm job searching, I use it on my phone as well as on the computer, but I haven't used it on my phone in several years. But regardless of where you're working in LinkedIn, you're going to be able to do a lot. So I'm really curious, my students, what it is that you want to be able to accomplish with LinkedIn. What made you decide to come to today's program to learn more about using LinkedIn?
I know I'm not using it as well as I should. It's not to its fullest capacity.
Okay. Are you thinking more along the lines of job searching, or maybe of finding people for jobs, or just networking?
Just networking.
Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit. Anybody else? You guys can make stuff up too.
Yeah, for me, I'm always looking to learn the nuances of LinkedIn and how I can improve on making it better for me.
Oh, sounds good.
Also to help people find me.
Oh, okay. Yep. We will talk about that today as well. Colleen, anything, or you're just here because, somebody said go and you had to get on?
I'm curious. I always learn something else about a new app that, even though I think I know a lot about it, I'm always surprised that there's something I will always learn from a training session. So,
and we're going to talk about so much, and there is so much that we aren't even going to get a chance to talk about. So LinkedIn really is very powerful, and the focus for today is to start with LinkedIn, to make sure you've got a profile and to move from there. This is the About screen on LinkedIn. So let's talk first about what LinkedIn is. It is a social network. Unlike Facebook, though, it's built on professional connections. So you want to make connections with people that you have known professionally or who can help you professionally. And we'll talk about connections a little bit more later and what I mean by people who can help you professionally, because there's a bunch of different ways. LinkedIn's pretty easy to identify. The logo, no matter where you're looking, no matter where you find it, it's a little blue box, and in lowercase, it has the word in it for LinkedIn. It was first launched in the early 2000s, and now by the early 2020s, it is the largest professional network. There's more than 930 million members in over 200 countries and territories worldwide. It's similar to Facebook in that it does include social networking capabilities, but it is designed as a professional-minded social network, designed for professionals like you and me to make connections and to grow their network. I'm going to ask somebody just to read the vision and the mission for me, if you don't mind. Is it big enough? Can you see it?
I could take the vision.
Awesome, thank you.
To create an economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce.
Yep.
And I'll read the mission, right?
Thank
Is that
you.
next? Mission. The mission of LinkedIn is simple: connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful.
Yes, so LinkedIn was created and still moves forward, working to connect members of the global workforce and to help them become more productive and more successful, both professionally as well as financially. So who uses LinkedIn? Students use LinkedIn, workers, leaders, organizations use LinkedIn, colleges use LinkedIn, businesses use LinkedIn. All of these individuals and organizations use LinkedIn, and maintaining a LinkedIn account, it puts you in the middle of all of this. So it starts with you and your profile, and then you're connected, as you can see from the slide, to so many different things. So what is LinkedIn? If you had to explain to me in one sentence what you think LinkedIn is used for, what the purpose is, and not the big global mission, but what the purpose of LinkedIn is for you as an individual, or possibly for you as an employer. Any thoughts?
For me, I'm going to say it is a digital footprint for your professional career.
I like that. I like that because you can track your entire professional career in LinkedIn. So yes, it is a great place to keep track of all of that information. And we're going to talk about how often you should update your LinkedIn profile later on to grow your footprint. Any other thoughts, comments?
I can say when I first started using LinkedIn way back when, in the very beginning, I definitely used it for networking.
Yes.
Because I wanted to make connections with other people that did what I did and find out what else I could do for them out there. So that's exactly what I went to it for, is just for the networking piece.
Yeah. So although we think about it in terms of jobs a lot of the time, networking, not just to find a job, but networking with other individuals who maybe Colleen wanted to then start to work with, or networking with other individuals who do similar things to you, and you're thinking, I need to understand more about such and such. Oh, let me go to LinkedIn and find all of the digital literacy instructors and start asking questions or join groups. Yeah, definitely. Both of those are great. Anything else we might want to add? The purpose of LinkedIn is to promote connections between people and organizations, so both of them, to get you connected or networking with other individuals and organizations. And to be able to do that, you need to be visible, searchable, and findable. So today we're going to look at individual LinkedIn profiles. So we'll look at our profiles, or we'll create one for ourselves. And we're going to talk about what information you should be adding to make you more visible, more searchable, more findable. So by the end of today's workshop, all of you as my students are going to be able to use LinkedIn and some of its key features. You will be able to create an account and personalize your own profile. You will be able to make connections, professional connections through LinkedIn, and you will be able to learn how to start searching for employment if that's what you're using LinkedIn for. And again, often we think of it in terms of jobs, in terms of employment, but regardless of your professional journey, LinkedIn can be really, really useful no matter where you are on your journey and what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Again, I just want to point out, this is an interactive workshop. Please do not hesitate to ask questions at any time, but I think we're going to get started. So what I'd like everybody to do is go into your web browser. And this would be easier when we're in person because you'll be at a computer and you're going to open up a web browser. And then no matter whether you have a LinkedIn account or if you are ready to create one, in the search bar for your web browser, you're going to type www.linkedin.com. And then once you get there, you're going to see a screen similar to this, where you're welcomed to LinkedIn. If you already have an account and you know your username, which is either your email or your phone number, and your password, you're going to go ahead and type that information in, and then you'll click on the sign in button. Let me know if you have signed in. Maybe just give me a thumbs up. Sarah's nodding. Oh, awesome, thumbs up. For those of you who need to create your LinkedIn account, I'm going to walk you through that in a second. So for everybody who has a LinkedIn account, I'm going to ask you to hang on for a second while I just walk through everybody else who needs to create their account. So if you need to create your LinkedIn account, you see there's 2 sign-in options, but there's also new to LinkedIn, it's easy to join. So there are 2 join now options on LinkedIn. When you go ahead and click on the join now option, you are going to have to enter some basic information to be able to create your LinkedIn profile. So those of you who are creating a profile, you're going to click on join now. When you click on join now, it's going to ask you to enter your email and also create a password. When you are entering your email and password, don't click agree and join yet. Those of you who are joining LinkedIn right away, you're going to enter your email. Remember, you want this to be your personal email, but it should sound professional. So hopefully you've created an email that is not something like cutiepie@hotmail.com. You want to make sure that you've done it a little professionally. So you'll type in kristen@gmail.com, whatever it is that is your username, whatever it is that is your email. Your password needs to be at least 6 characters. So you're going to start to type in your password before you click agree and join. I want you to click the word show at the right side. I want you to look at your password. I want you to make sure, because it doesn't give you a prompt to type it a second time. So I want you to make sure that what you typed in there is what you thought you typed. I also want you to just jot it down somewhere so that when you go home, you can still log into LinkedIn from your home computer. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and click on agree and join. So again, you went into linkedin.com, you chose to join, you're entering your email, a password, you're just double checking the information, jotting it down. Once you jot it down, LinkedIn is going to ask you for some other basic information. So you would go through all of those on the screen prompts. And again, those of you who have already signed in, wonderful. Just hang on for me one more minute. I'm still going to finish walking everybody else through how to do this. So what's going to happen is you're going to go through all of these on-screen prompts, and LinkedIn is going to ask you for your first name, your last name, your country, your postal code, your location. At the end of each of these forms that you're filling out, you're going to click on either continue or next. So once you enter in all of your personal information, LinkedIn is going to ask you for your job title, or you might have to select that you're a student. It's going to ask you for your employment type and the most recent company you worked for. Those come in these drop downs. And if you don't see your specific title in the drop down, come up with something close. So for example, I'm a digital literacy instructor. My job title, digital literacy instructor, doesn't show up in any of the drop downs, but you know what a computer instructor does. So I used computer instructor. So you're going to go through that information. And then what is going to happen is LinkedIn is going to say, I need the confirmation code I just sent you. So what you'll do is you'll go over to your email, and maybe you're going to check it on your phone. You're going to find the confirmation code. You're going to type that in, and then you'll be able to continue creating your profile. When you get to the questions about, do you want to let recruiters know you're open to new jobs? You can go ahead and do that. But where it gives you a QR code to download the app, we're going to skip that for now. We're going to skip the connecting with people. We're all going to do that together. So luckily at this point, I can see that all of my students have their new accounts and that they are all at the home screen in LinkedIn. I'm going to sign in with my account. This is a brand new account. I've put some very basic information in it. And now I'm at my home screen in LinkedIn as well. So what you're seeing on your screen, does it look something like this? Yeah, fabulous. And I just want to talk us all through the menu that's at the top, or the toolbar that's at the top of the screen. So your home screen at the very top has a toolbar. The IN logo, the in logo, if you were to click it, it brings you to your home page, which is the page you probably just logged into. There's a search section next to it. Does everybody know how to search something on Google or some other web browser? You've done that before. Fabulous. LinkedIn, the search works almost identical to that, but it doesn't search the internet. It searches LinkedIn. So anything you're looking for in LinkedIn, you're going to search there. And we'll look at searching for jobs or people later on. Next to that, you have two people with it's your Mine network. Mine has 4 in it. So my network are all of my current connections and then any new invitations to connect. So on this screen, it's showing me I probably have 4 new invitations to connect or people who have accepted my connection. So we'll look at networking once we finish our profile. Jobs comes next to that. That's where you're going to search for available jobs. You're going to be able to see recommended jobs for you, and you're going to be able to track any jobs you applied for on LinkedIn. My messages next to that is anybody who has direct messaged me. I get to see those. Notifications. The notifications number is always huge, especially the bigger your network is, the more notifications you're going to see. And that's because it lists all new activity in your network. So anybody you're connected to has liked an article or posted something or changed jobs, you're going to, or has a job anniversary, you're going to see all of that in your notifications. You will also see it on your homepage. And then next to that is the Me button. Me is who I am on LinkedIn. And this is where we're going to go to look at our profile, edit our profile, etc. I'm assuming you know the little red dots, just like, you know, on your phone. When you have something that has a little red circle in it with numbers in it, like I've got 672 emails on my phone, it'll tell me that in my little notification dots. Doris is laughing at me. I don't. I try to get rid of all of my notifications pretty quickly. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take a look at this toolbar and we want to figure out how to update our LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to talk you through a few things in your profile first. Then I'm going to give you the option of adding things or adjusting your profile. Sound fair? I see some nods. Perfect. So your profile has a bunch of parts to it. And the first thing that anybody is going to notice about your profile on LinkedIn is your photo. Because just like I think all of you said you use Facebook, whatever you do on Facebook, your picture shows up next to it. Similarly, on LinkedIn, your picture shows up or your photo shows up next to anything you're doing. So you definitely want to be able to have a nice professional photo or something that shows your profession on your LinkedIn profile. Who has posted any pictures on social media, on your LinkedIn or on your Instagram? Anybody?
Yes.
Colleen does. Yeah, I see hands. Do you think you would put most of those photos with your resume if you were applying for a job?
No.
No, Colleen, why not? You don't want to have people see you skiing or, sitting on the beach. Yeah. This, again, it's a social network. It is a social media platform. Excuse me while I can't talk. A social media platform, but it is a professional social media platform. So you definitely want to make sure that you are giving a good professional impression. So keep in mind, it's not like your ID or your driver's license or your passport photo. You want it to show a little bit of personality, but you also want to keep it simple, make sure that it clearly shows your face, make sure that people can recognize you and right away in their feed. You also do want to avoid anything in the background that's distracting. This is not a great background for my LinkedIn photo because probably people are trying to figure out what's back there. So you want it to be professional, simple, easy to recognize you. So let's talk about that a little bit. We're going to look at some examples of profile pictures and you all are going to let me know, do you think this is a good profile photo or not? And I'm also going to ask you why. So who wants to take the first one?
That looks like a good one.
I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
What makes it so nice?
Very professional, smiling. Hair is done up professionally, the right attire, background looks pretty clean.
Nice, simple. It's a lovely background, just like Doris's background right now. It's just simple and calm. Okay, does everybody agree?
Yes.
Great professional one. Okay, how about this one?
No.
No, why not?
Facebook. That's a Facebook.
Look at this, is a great shirt. It says, drink water, love hard, fight racism. Those are wonderful. No, it's not professional. You're right, Colleen. It's a great Facebook picture. So tell me some things about it that are not professional.
Her sitting position, her hand placement, the text. You should never have any kind of wording or anything on a shirt that you're wearing.
Yep.
The leggings are
The leggings and the
not
sneakers.
Or Vans, I think they are. Yeah. So this one, not so professional, even though it's a nice photo. What do I think of this one?
It's nice, right?
Okay.
But he's sitting at a bar.
Okay, so
Unless
what?
he's in
ahead, Colleen.
hospitality.
Good
There
guy.
you
There you
If
go.
he
That
works
was
at
the
a
point.
hotel or something like that. Maybe
In which case, that's
hospitality.
perfect. Hey, look at me at work. I work in hospitality. I can run this whole place. Look at how organized I am with my books. So if you were looking for, I keep going, I'm going to go back to the example of computer trainer as your job you might be looking for. So not the professional photo for that, because yeah, he's at a bar. But if that is his job, to work in hospitality, to work in a restaurant, so I think it's a great picture in that case. And then this last one. I see everybody shaking heads, so I'm going to take it. The baseball cap, the crossed arms, the Levi's sweatshirt. The crossed arms, I don't think would bother me if he was dressed more professionally. I mean, otherwise it would be a good photo if the attire were a little bit different. You can still see his face, but it's not just like staring head on. Everybody agree with these? Any questions? Anything you're thinking about? Do any of you have a photo on your LinkedIn right now? Good. I don't know if I mentioned it, and I forget the number now. I think it's on my other slide. Sorry. Oh, it's on my next slide. Sorry about that. Profiles with photos get 21 times more views than profiles without photos. So you definitely want to make sure that your profile photo is professional. You can always keep in mind what your profession is, because that might help you stand out within your profession. And if you need to add a little bit of flair, a little bit of creativity, there's always a banner behind. And right now I don't have a photo or a banner, but there's also a banner you can put behind your photo. As long as you use it something relatively simple, not too busy, you can put something a little bit more creative in there. In a couple moments, we'll look at where we can go to add our photos. Any questions on what's professional? I mean, you all did great with the photo quiz, so I don't think you have questions, but if you do, please ask. Right. After your photo, the next thing that people see is right below your name, they see what is known as your headline. Your headline, it can be as straightforward as your current or your most recent job title, because that is absolutely relevant, important to what you're doing within LinkedIn. But you can also customize that headline a little bit. So instead of letting it show computer teacher, for example, think about who you are as a professional. Think about who you're working to become as a professional. Consider some of your life, your work, your education experiences. Think about your talents, some of your important skills. So if you are meeting somebody for the first time professionally, once they know who you are, think about what it is that you want to introduce yourself as a professional. So the headline from LinkedIn, again, they put it as your current or your most recent job title. You can, and I recommend you should edit it so that people get to know a bit more about you. So we're going to do another quiz. You ready? Or do you have questions before we do our next little, is it good or not? Okay. So again, I'm going to show you some headlines, and I did copy these directly from actual LinkedIn profiles. And I want to know what you think. Think it's a great headline or a not so great headline? So I'm going to show two next to each other. The first one says luxury and lifestyle professional, retail management, customer service, receptionist. The other side says receptionist at Hand and Stone, which is probably the person's current job. Which do you think is a better headline to introduce yourself as a professional? The left or the right?
Left.
The left. Why?
It gives more specific information instead of just I'm receptionist at a place.
And this could be the same person whose current job is a receptionist at Hand and Stone, but they do manage the store. Customer service as a receptionist, absolutely. It's a lifestyle or luxury and lifestyle brand. So it gives all of this information as opposed to I'm a receptionist and I'm trying to think of a place that doesn't have as much personal contact with people coming in for their massages and their facials and such. So does this one make sense for everyone?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, left one says data entry administrative assistant. The right one says data entry, data management, documentation, customer service, Epic software, which is the name of a data entry software, and human resources admin. What do we think?
Right.
The one on the right, absolutely. They do data entry, but they also manage the data. Documentation, probably they wrote out instructions for when they're not around, somebody else can do the data entry. That's documentation. Customer service. They mentioned software that they use for data entry. If they used 3 or 4 other ones, they could put them in there as well. They also are the assistant in human resources that does all of this. So it gives a much broader picture of who this person is professionally. Left says retail growth strategist and driving retail efficiencies, building brand prestige and ensuring customer service excellence. The second one says store manager. Everybody's nodding.
Left.
Absolutely. The one on the left. These are all of the things that a retail store manager does. I used to work for a retailer, and even the sales associates in the stores were called brand ambassadors because they made sure you understood everything you needed to about the brand. So again, think about what your job is and start to really talk through, or at least name all of the things that are important and that you are good at in that job. All right, last one. Manager, archives, records management, and special collections and museum programs, or librarian of awesome.
I think the left.
You think? I gotta say, I love them both.
Right, but
Doris, why do you think that I like the left one is perfect? That is a really great headline. But Doris, why did you like the right one?
it brought up curiosity because I wanted to know what more about this awesome.
That is so totally going to get people to click on their profile. It absolutely is. If they've filled out their profile right, but this is their headline, so many people are going to think, librarian of awesome. All right. And if they don't want to click on it because they don't want somebody creative and quirky, then that wasn't going to be the right place for the librarian of awesome anyway. So do you get like the profiles and what they can do for you? They need to say enough about you to get people to click on your profile. So you want your photo, you definitely want your headline. Your headline should stand out, which is what the librarian of awesome did. It really is the first thing people view on your profile. They see your picture, your name, and then right below it is your headline. I mentioned earlier that LinkedIn creates your headlines based on your current position, but you know yourself way better than LinkedIn does. So you should create your headline or your headline so that you are grabbing somebody's attention with your skills, with your creativity, with your knowledge, with your experience, depending on what industry you want to be in. You're going to have different options of what you want to do with your profile. Before I move on, questions about creating headlines? Are you all now thinking about what you might want to make your headline be in your profile because it was your past job or your current job? So let's look at how we can update our profile. Again, I just want to show you some things first, and then I'll let you have a few minutes to update something that's in your profile. If you all have been clicking around, I'm going to ask you to click on your home button in the profile that, I'm sorry, in LinkedIn, because that's just going to get us all in the same place. If you have not updated your LinkedIn profile, all I did to get my profile to look like this was I entered in my basic personal information. I entered in, I don't even think at this point I have a job in there yet. So if you don't have enough in your profile, LinkedIn's going to give you this update profile right on your home screen because it's going to say, there's not much I can help you with until you update your profile. So if you see that, you can update your profile from there. I could update my profile from here. LinkedIn always says, oh, to update your profile, click on me, click view profile. And if I click on me and click view profile, you'll see my basic profile information. I'm going to click back on home because the way I've always done it is if I want to update my profile where it says, welcome, Kristen, I click there and it brings me into my profile. So again, you can click on me, view profile, or you can click on your information at the left, and that's going to bring you into your profile. If you wanted to add a photo or edit the photo that's in your profile, you would click on the camera. If you click on the camera, I can then choose to use the camera that's right in front of me because I'm on Zoom right now. Or if I know I have photos already, I would click upload photo. I would find the photo wherever it is on my computer. So I made sure I had a couple of pictures. And then, and again, these are not necessarily super professional photos. Actually, I'm going to use this one, which is an awful photo, but I love this picture because it is me teaching over Zoom. So if I was looking for a remote job teaching computers over computers, that might be a great profile picture. And then I can just save the photo. It'll take a moment. So again, I'm in my profile. I can always click on the pictures that I have in there to add a profile photo or that banner in the background. The other thing I can do for my profile is on sections of my profile, there are pencils. The pencils allow me to edit those sections. So if I wanted to update my headline, I would click on the pencil. There's my name. I can change that if I want to. I could add my gender pronouns. My headline right now says I'm a computer instructor at Plainfield Public Library. I can edit that from here. So I can go ahead and add any of that. I'm going to give everybody a chance if they want to make some changes on their profile. Who remembers how to get to your profile to be able to edit it? Or are you already there trying it? You're already there. Okay,
I'm already
great.
there.
Can you just click on your name?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm supposed to not be teaching my teachers right now. The reason why I asked who can tell me was just to repeat those steps for everybody one more time to make sure that people were with it, but without me saying it. So I'll give you another moment and then let me know when you've done editing your profile. And then I'm going to ask what you edited. You can even tell us or show us what it was you changed. That's up to you though. Who wants to share with us, and we don't all have to unless we really want to, who wants to share what part of your profile you changed?
Google
And
eyes.
then if you want to,
I slightly amended my heading,
okay.
but what I did notice is it didn't appear, the changes didn't appear until I refreshed the homepage.
Sarah, that is actually a really great point to make. So if I had edited, and I didn't, but if I had edited my heading, I would need to refresh the page so that LinkedIn finds it and brings it back because it doesn't automatically do it for you. Nice job. Anybody else, anything?
No,
Or you
I
can
could
tell me
share
why
mine if you want me to
yeah.
share.
You want to
I have-
share your screen?
I
Or you
have
want
my
to just
photo
talk?
and I have,
Oh,
yeah, I can
nice.
share.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and let you share.
Can you see mine?
Oh, I can see both your screens, so I know you're working on the schedule for IC3 also. It doesn't matter. All right,
There we
Colleen, very
go.
nice photo.
So I did a photo and I actually realized now my photo is blurry. So eventually I'm going to find this
We
picture.
should,
and I have to
do
figure out why
photos
it's
we'll do a
blurry.
photo
Okay,
shoot
nice
in
and
front of the
soft.
library tomorrow.
Nice and soft, make sure.
It is soft, but it's still seems very blurry though. But yep, I did that and just very quick.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to share?
Right now, I just changed one word from
Okay,
career coach to career strategist
love it.
as an
Love it.
consider.
That's great. And that's something really also wonderful to point out, Dries. Think about the action words, the words that are recommended for resumes. That's the same language you want to speak on LinkedIn in your profile to be able to be concise, but be very, very specific about the actions, the things that you've accomplished, the skills that you have learned for yourself, that you're expert in now. Those are all great. I love them all. So again, what we do to, apparently I cannot talk and share my screen at the same time. So hang on 1 second. I'm going to bring up my screen share again. Wonderful. So again, we either clicked on our profile over at the left or from the, oh, I can't even see it right now. We clicked on the My Network or My Network. No, I'm sorry, it's not My Network. Hang on. Let me show it to you correctly. We either clicked on the information at the left or we went to Me and went View Profile. And then we've got all that lovely information. Any questions yet? So we've talked about, again, our photo, our headline. Feeling good so far? Beautiful. The next thing we want to talk about is a summary or the about section for you. There's an about section in LinkedIn that you can use to tell your story a little more. Your photo, your headline, that's your introduction. What you add into the about section is, what would you say next? If I was introducing myself to Sarah, because Sarah is I'm networking and she works at the company I want to work for and I can't wait. And so I would have to come up with that story of me that I want to tell next. And the about section, you have total freedom in there to write whatever it is that you want. You might want to write narratives. You might want to use some paragraphs. You might want to just do bulleted lists, but you don't want to skip the section that allows you to tell more of your story about who you are professionally. And then once you add that information, then you start adding details. Then you start adding your experiences. And we'll look at where to find all of this in a little bit. But the experiences section, you think of it, or you should think of it as your resume. Does everybody have a resume already? Yeah. Once you start networking with LinkedIn, yes, you could upload your resume, but if you put all of your experiences into LinkedIn, it creates that resume for you. So you're going to be able to put in your jobs, your job title, the type of employment, where it was, timeframes. You'll add a description like you do on your resume. You'll put the skills that you have learned or used at that job in LinkedIn as well. Don't overlook anything. Put all of your experience, both professional, you can add your education. Also, update this frequently. Maybe you just got a promotion. Don't wait until you're job hunting. Put that information in here as soon as you got a promotion. Maybe you just took a certification course. Maybe you just got a certification from an IC3 certification. Put that right on your profile so that people know. Maybe you're taking a course, add that in there. Keep all of this up to date and make sure it reflects who you are as a professional and what your current goals are. So, and again, we'll look in a minute at where to find all this stuff, but you want to keep your experiences or put your experiences into LinkedIn so that it looks like a resume on your LinkedIn profile. When you put your experiences in LinkedIn, so you're adding a job, you will be able to add the skills that you learned or utilized at that job. But there is also skills that you can add outside of any of your jobs. And I think this is really important and something that a lot of us don't think about doing. When I put my when I put skills into LinkedIn, I think about, okay, at this job, I look at my resume, I did blah, 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 blah. Those are all of the skills. I put in that I teach computers and I add all of the different software that I know because I'm skilled in all of the softwares, etc. But I don't ever think outside of the box. And a lot of us haven't done this. And it's truly important to be able to do this because this is what makes you special. Not only do you have the skills of a computer teacher, of a librarian of awesome, not only do you have those skills, you've got hidden skills. You might not even be thinking about them. So when I was thinking about, all right, what would I add to my skills section other than all the software I know, other than the fact that I know how to run presentations, that I teach online, that I can do stand-up instruction, like all of those things I know I do in my job. What else would I want to add in there? And I thought, everything in here are all my hard skills. The measurable skills that I bring to my job. But I didn't add any of those soft skills that I possess. So one of the things that I think or hope that I'm really good at is breaking things down. I really think I'm pretty good at simplifying complex information or a complex task. Yes, I teach computers, but as a soft skill, I can take complex information and break it down and simplify it. And I think that's a really important skill that I have that not everybody does. So I'm going to add that to my skills in LinkedIn. I think about the fact that as a parent, I have to do a lot of time management and a lot of organization, and I'm pretty good at time management. So I want to add that into my LinkedIn profile. And then, so I want you all to start to think about outside of what you see as your professional life. What are some of the other things you do? It could be volunteer. It could be, you're the party planner for all of your friends. Well, what are some skills that a party planner has?
Organizational skills,
Organization,
communication.
Great communication, planning venues, so many different things. So if that's what you do, think about those skills and you'll be able to add them in as well. You want to be as generative as possible. Collect a wide range of skills that you want to make sure people know about you. And then one of the most powerful features in LinkedIn is that once you've added skills and once you've added connections, your connections will see those skills on your profile. And once they see those skills, they can endorse you in them. So if Colleen were looking at my profile on LinkedIn and she saw that I was a computer instructor and that I taught PowerPoint, she could say, I endorse this. This is accurate about Kristen. And you can endorse the skills of any of your connections as well. So it makes it sort of, hey, I endorsed you, you go ahead and endorse me. And what happens is if I notice people have endorsed me in something, I go back and check their skills so that I can do the same for them, because it's proof that we do have those skills. And again, I promise you we'll look at where all of this stuff is. Although how many of you have found where to add some of this already?
I'm actually getting stuck how to add a new skill right now.
You know what? Instead of going to recommendations, I'm going to show you where it is first, or I can also ask somebody in my class if they can tell us where to find some of this in LinkedIn. Does somebody want to try to walk us through it, or do you want me to do it? It's a
Like-
little tricky.
Talking about though.
I'm sorry, Doris, I couldn't hear you.
Skills? Are you talking about skills or just recommend endorsements?
Let's start with skills. Do you know where to add skills? So the first thing you probably do is you scroll down your profile and you see, okay, I can add experience. And if I add in a position, LinkedIn is going to walk me through all of the things that I should add with my dates, description, headline. I can add the skills for that work experience in here. However, if I just want to add something into my profile and I'm not seeing a box for it anywhere, what I do is I'm looking at my profile. Does everybody see this add profile section? So you're going to look at your profile. You should see add profile section. If it's not right on your profile, you're going to go ahead to your me up on your toolbar. And in your me up on your toolbar, oh, maybe I just made that up. I may have just made that up. I thought you could get it from there. Does everybody have this add profile section? When you click on add profile section, you've got your core information, which you're already filling in with your positions, etc. If you want to add a skill outside of your positions, and I'm gonna put I can do presentations and I'll save it. Once I've added a section somewhere, now I've got my skills section in here. Sarah, I see you're looking a little confused. Are you having a hard time finding it? Would you mind sharing your screen? And I know it'll take a moment to figure out which screen to share. Oh, perfect. So you have added the skill.
Well, I really didn't. That's, let's say I wanted to add time management or
Okay.
organizational. Where would I put that?
So is this a skill that you already saved or?
No.
Okay.
This,
Yeah, go ahead and click save. Perfect. I'm going to ask you not to add skill, but to close that. So there's two different ways that you would choose to add your skills. Scroll down for me a little bit, and then we're going to see a little bit lower below about. Okay, here's your experience. So in your experience section, you would add any jobs that you wanted to show in there. So you'll see where the plus sign is. You would add that job and you would put the skills that you used or learned at that job in there. That's going to allow you to edit the job you're in. Yep, go ahead and click that one. And when you click it, now you have to click the pencil again. Because the first pencil was your editing experience. The second pencil should be that you're editing. Hold on, turn on notify network of profile. Okay. Before we look at skills, and I'm really sorry that I'm making it this hard, but before we look at skills, do you see where it says notify network up at the top? If you leave that on, everything that you're editing in your profile right now will be notified out to anybody you're connected with currently. So you might decide that if I'm just adding some skills, I want to turn that off. So you're editing your experience. I'm finding it strange that we can't actually edit your experience. We want you to add your top 5 skills. I'm going to look at mine real quick. Edit. Sarah, we might have to take a look at this. I'm going to take back the screen share for a second. maybe I will help you figure out at the end of this session. You may have something turned on or off in your profile. But when I go to the screen share for this, in my profile here, let me go back for a moment. So I'm back looking at my profile and I find my experiences. And right now I only have one experience in there, which is that I'm a computer instructor at Plainfield. When I click edit, it's going to show me all of my experiences. I choose to edit computer instructor. It gives me this whole form to fill out. So what I'm not sure is why your form is missing. And we will spend some time on that a little bit later. I'll help you figure it out.
Could be the way I set it up to begin with, but
That's
I'm also, my other question is, do you have to add a skill next to a job, or can you just add
No.
general skills?
Beautiful question. So I'm going to go back to my profile. If I don't have skills showing in this list, I'm going to add profile section. So again, I'm going to click on this add profile section. I am going to look at my core. Oh, in the core profile, I can add skills here. These skills are not attached to my jobs. So I am good at, I don't remember if I already did time management. I'm going to put time management in there. I am not connecting it to my computer instructor job, although I can if I choose to. I have many skills that are on my real LinkedIn profile, not my fake student one. I have many that are connected to multiple jobs. And then I would just save it. When I save it, I can add more, or I can come find my skills section. And now I have time management and presentations. Other than Sarah, and I promise we'll look at it and figure it out, is everybody else able to add skills, experiences, etc., to your profile? Okay. Sarah, I'm sorry. I promise I'll get you there. Okay. And then if I were to link with Colleen, and actually here's what I'm going to do. Because I know you all asked about I have a little bit of a brain fog today, not recommendations, but if I were to endorse, if I wanted to endorse somebody, if I looked at their profile, I could see their skills and it would ask me if I wanted to endorse them. When we make connections, I will go back and show you how to endorse people and also how to do recommendations. So we know how to add our skills in, we know how to add our work experience, we know how to edit things. Recommendations are more personalized than skill endorsements. I mean,
I have to tell you something funny.
go ahead.
I was clicking around in here because I don't click around in LinkedIn very often. And I clicked on recommendations and found 2 requests that are years old. I feel terrible.
It happens. I mean, you didn't know. Let's talk about recommendations, and then I'll say what I would have done if I was the person who asked you for that recommendation. So it's been a really long time since I have needed a recommendation. I mean, if you think about when you're applying for school, maybe, and you needed a letter of recommendation from a teacher or a principal or something like that. Sometimes when you're looking for a new job opportunity, you ask for a letter of recommendation so that it's somebody saying, oh, wow, Sarah is really great at this and wonderful at this and an expert at that. But it's a personal thing, and people who are connected to you will be able to see those letters of recommendation. You can ask for recommendations, as Sarah just learned. You can also give recommendations without somebody asking for it, or I can give Sarah a recommendation and hope that she'll give me a recommendation back. And one of the wonderful things about recommendations is if it's a recommendation that you don't actually like, You just don't have to show it on your LinkedIn profile. It is okay to just not even show that on your profile. So let's look at our recommendations and see how we can fix or solve this. So when we go to add profile section, we look at recommend, and there's all kinds of things you should add: your licenses, certificates, courses you've taken, but you can also add recommendations. You can request a recommendation first from someone. Now you're noticing maybe
Ask
that-
me, you might never get it.
I know. That's why I did that. You're noticing that, you know how when you've been typing things in here, lists have been popping down. Sarah's not popping down in my list because she and I are not connected right now. So what you probably would want to do is make a connection first, then go to the recommendations. And we'll talk about it a little more when we make our connections, but honestly, Sarah, if I needed a recommendation from you and I thought I did great work for Sarah, of course she'll recommend me, and I didn't hear from you, I would at least drop you an email, or maybe not call, because I don't want to put you on the spot that you have to say no, but I would drop you an email and say, you know, I sent you a request over LinkedIn. I don't know if you saw it yet. If you don't mind, could you go in and give me a recommendation? You know, so I would always try to follow up with that. So it's, again, all of these are part of your profiles. I need to make connections before I can do endorsements and recommendations. So we're going to look at connections next. I'm assuming some of you already have connections in your LinkedIn profile. Do you know how many people you are currently connected with? Yeah, you can see where that is. Sarah, where'd you find it?
I have 769 connections. When I go to home, I can see it there.
Exactly. So it's going to show on your home screen. I don't remember. I don't think I have any yet. When I go to my home screen, oh, it still wants me to finish up my profile. But if I look at my network, nope, I am not connected to anybody. All I have is LinkedIn news right now. So I need to make connections. Before I start making connections, let's talk about what are connections and what are good connections. This is more, again, than Facebook. We're not just making friends here so we can joke about, you know, our favorite TV shows or whatever. LinkedIn is about who you connect with, but it's also about who they are connected with. Your connections and their connections can easily provide you with information and opportunities over LinkedIn. A lot of people think that it's how many connections you have. And yes, how many connections is very helpful, but who they're connected with as well is super useful for how you're setting up your LinkedIn. More and more job applicants are using LinkedIn, reaching out to companies or researching companies on LinkedIn, or linking or connecting with the leaders or the HR department at the company to get more information, to show their interest, to find new clients. So you definitely want to keep in mind that you want to connect with people who can help you professionally. So your first connection that you should make is with the people you already know, value as business associates, current coworkers, former coworkers. If you're in school recently, you would want to connect with classmates. Then if you think that family or friends would be valuable professionally, you can definitely add those as connections as well. If you have that crazy little brother who, you know, makes fun and does silly things on your Facebook profile, maybe, and you think they're going to do it on LinkedIn, don't connect with them, because you don't want them to do anything for your professional profile. LinkedIn refers to your connections by degree of connectedness or degree of connections. First degree connections are people that I connected or you connected with directly. So it's somebody you knew. you maybe worked with them, went to school with them, etc. You asked for them to connect with you, they accepted the connection, or vice versa. When you have first degree connections, they can see your updates usually on their feed on their homepage, and you can see that their updates on your homepage. A second degree connection is a connection of one of my first degrees. So as an example, I just decided to connect with Tara Smith, who I used to work with at my last company. Everybody that Tara is connected to are now my second degree connections. What's great about your second degree connections is you can look at those second degrees and think, I'm looking for a job at blah, blah, blah. Tara works at blah, blah, blah. I'm interviewing with so-and-so at blah, blah, blah. Tara knows them, so I can use my connection with Tara to find ways to network with some of her connections. Does that make sense? Questions? Awesome. All right, so let's try it. There's a gazillion ways to make connections. Everywhere you go on LinkedIn, you will be able to connect with people or to follow groups, companies, etc. So often you're just going to see the connect button. I'll come back and talk about the grow your network, etc. in a moment. But right now, I am going to go ahead into LinkedIn and I am going to make a connection. I want to search for Kristen Brogy. Well, would you look at that? That's the real me versus my fake one. So if I connect, if I find the person I want, I click on connect. Kristen's going to get a note saying, hey, can we connect with each other? Doris, I see you have a question.
So I always try to figure out what's the difference between connecting with someone and following someone.
Fabulous question. Let me think before I want to sort of show an example. I just have to think for a moment. Trying to come up with somebody sort of, oh, hold on, Bill Gates. So Bill Gates is pretty darn famous. He is not going to take connections from little old Kristen Brogy from Plainfield Public Library. However, Bill Gates shares all kinds of information on LinkedIn. If I follow if I follow Bill Gates, when I go back to my homepage, I'm going to start seeing not only the LinkedIn news, but eventually, if Bill Gates has posted something recently, that's going to show up in my news feed as well. So are you able to see that? So connections are people you know personally. I do not know Bill Gates, so he will never accept a connection request from me, but he shares great information. Somebody else I actually love following on LinkedIn is Melinda Gates. She has totally separate great information. So those are people that I follow. You can also follow companies. If you spell, it works way easier in your search. So I want to follow Microsoft. So I'm following Microsoft as a company. So connections, you know, personally, or you know somebody who knows somebody. That gets you your second degrees. Following is a way to get the information from a person or an organization in your LinkedIn feed. Does that help with that question?
It does. So that means if I post something, it's not going to go to them. It'll just be in my feed to share. Got it.
Yes, so it will go to the people who know you. Great. That I didn't even think about that part, but that's a great way to put it as well. Thank you, Doris, for making that part clear as well. Okay, so we looked at, I sent a connection request to Kristen. If And let's see my network. Oh, and it's showing me that now I'm invited to get newsletters and subscribe to other things where I went into my network. So I can look up a person and try to connect with them. I could look for Colleen. When I find Colleen, I can connect with her as well. I'm not gonna, because this is not an actual profile, but I could connect with Colleen. Again, she'd get an email or a notification in her My Network page. She can accept or ignore. You don't have to accept all of the Facebook, all of the LinkedIn connections that people request. Okay. Are you guys all trying adding some connections in here
And
a little bit?
and I wanted to add on that.
Go ahead.
But what I found too is I don't connect also with everyone that sends me an invite. I check their profile out first just to see, number one, the last time they posted anything, number two, what they're talking about, because it may not be what I want to be connected with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I would always do that. I mean, and not to talk about Facebook a lot, I do the same thing there. I look and make sure that it's a real profile with information and it's not something somebody created and now I'm being spammed. So that's definitely a great way to handle all of that. If we talk about the My Network page, you can connect through your My Network page. If I wanted to, I could add in my email address, and then any emails that I have as part of my address book would automatically start connecting me to those people as well, which is why I don't do that. But because I've been using the same email address book for like 20 some odd years. So I search for people that way. You're also going to see people you may know from Plainfield Public Library. So when you go to your My Network, the more experiences that you have put in for jobs, for education, etc., you're going to start seeing suggested connections in your My Network page as well. So you're going to connect to people as you come across them, or as you search for them, or in your suggested connections as well. Once you have your connections, and I already did that, try it by showing it to you on the screen. Once you have your connections, hang on, I'm going to go to my actual profile so we can look at skills and endorsements and stuff. So I made, again, talking to the people who want to be teaching this, even though LinkedIn says you should only have one account with real names, etc., I did make a fake account so that I knew the steps on getting things started, because I've been using LinkedIn for quite a while. So I'm just going to go into the LinkedIn account that I really use with my personal email. I'm going to sign in. I'm making the screen little just in case. So we see that really was my profile picture. If I go to me and I look at my skills, which are way down here, you're going to see all of the different skills I have. And I have apparently a lot. And then if I look at some of them, when I have to, some of them I know I have endorsements on. Sarah, do you mind if I look at, can I look you up on your profile? Were you able to add a skill? I don't remember. You're on mute.
I did add something in there.
So when I go to Sarah's and I look at Sarah's skills, I'm going to view her profile, and then I'm going to find her skills. Time management, organizational communication skills, absolutely. So I'm going to endorse. So if I find skills on somebody I know that I'm connected to, I can endorse them in those skills. I can give Sarah a recommendation. I can also ask Sarah for a recommendation. So on somebody's profile is where you're going to be able to do all of that. And typically, if you are organizing, if you are recommending or endorsing somebody, they will very likely do the same for you. However, keep in mind that not everybody goes to their LinkedIn profile unless they are actually job hunting, even though there is so much more you can do on LinkedIn than just job hunt. So we're going to talk about those other things now. Before we look at LinkedIn for finding a job, questions on finding people, connecting with people. So, and I'm gonna step out of teaching you all LinkedIn and be the, hey, we're all gonna teach this course at our libraries in different ways. Very likely the folks that are gonna come into your library are looking to create their LinkedIn profile. So they're going to be very much more focused on what you're doing and what you're saying versus playing around in LinkedIn. But you will have those people who are playing around in LinkedIn. So it's going to take you a little bit more time to really keep them focused and engaged and on task. And you're going to want them to just do one or two things in LinkedIn so that they're comfortable with it. Because we all already know what we're doing, we're messing around in LinkedIn to see what else we can learn, and that's okay. Okay, now I'm teaching again. So you definitely, if you're going to use LinkedIn to look for a job, want your profile completely filled out. And my profile still needs to be updated in there. Once you've completely filled out your profile, you can have LinkedIn build a resume for you by it takes the information that you've put into LinkedIn and it'll build a resume directly in there. To find jobs in LinkedIn, if you know what you're looking for, you can go into the search box. I can say, I am searching for computer teacher jobs. When I search for computer teacher jobs, I can narrow things down and say, oh, I only want to be a computer teacher in central New Jersey. I want it to be evenings. I want it to be a contract job. So I can set up all kinds of filters for the job that I want. And then I can add a job alert, which will send me notifications when LinkedIn finds jobs that match that. So if you want to try it, you can go ahead into LinkedIn. Oh, I'm doing it in my real profile. So my search is a little small. I want a computer instructor remote. I want to teach remotely. So I've already said I want to look for a computer instructor remotely. Here is where I can say, just show me jobs. Here's where I can filter, make that bigger. I can filter for the most recent or most relevant jobs. I don't want to see jobs posted at any time. Just show me stuff from the past week. And it should be an entry-level position, so you can really narrow down what you see. I could choose to add companies in here, on-site, remote, etc. Right now, it apparently thinks I want it in California. So for that, I'm going to come up here and put in New Jersey. If I could, I'm not going to. So you're going to go ahead and start creating that job search. And when you do, you can then set an alert on it. So you don't have to go in every day and put in all of those filters. you start by typing in the search, you start filtering, and then when I click set alert, now LinkedIn's going to notify me. I have my alert set to email me, but I will also see it in my messages and my notifications that I'm looking for this job. When I find a job I want, I click on apply. When I click on apply, LinkedIn's going to tell me what this organization said to do for their application. So I can't say to you, oh, every application is blah, blah, blah. But here's how whoever this is, I'm not going to be a high school teacher, and I would apply and just walk through all of those steps. I know I talked a lot through that, but does that make sense how you can find jobs, get alerts on jobs, apply for jobs? All right. So I'm going to click back on home over here, and I'm going to see what's going on in my profile. And I can look at all of the people and see what they're up to. I could search for, oh, I need to start building a training room. Hopefully, LinkedIn understands what I'm saying. Yes, it does. So if I search for something I'm looking to learn how to do, I can start to find information about that. I can look for groups that talk about computer training. I can look for schools that do that. So I can start following and building a network of professionals that are doing similar things that I am, so that I can use LinkedIn not just to find a job, not just to see what other people are up to, but to make good professional connections that can help me move forward in my current position or find a new position. So I know we just talked about a ton of information, and I'm going to open this up to questions for everybody, but I do want to just do a real quick review first. So at the beginning of today's workshop, we outlined what my students would be able to do by the end of today's session. So the first thing I said is we'd be able to use LinkedIn and its key features. Now, we're not going to have this like everybody demonstrate a key feature because we don't have enough time for that. But who can name one of the features that you learned how to use today or that you learned more about today?
Skills.
Say it again.
How to add skills.
How to add skills, absolutely. How to add a profile section. Go through all of those add profile sections. See if you can fill in information in there, because it's going to make your profile that much more robust. And then LinkedIn knows what to suggest to you based on that. So we looked at skills, profiles, anything else? What else did we look at?
How to make a connection.
How to make a connection. We also looked at searches and job alerts. So there's a lot you can do with LinkedIn. And we looked at searching for things that are not about finding a job. They're more about making professional connections. We also said you'd be able to create an account and personalize your profile. And I think all of you talked to me about some of the things you've already added to your profile. So I'm just going to check off that you learned that. But if you feel like you didn't, let me know. We said that you would be able to make connections, which you've all started to do your connections as well. And then start searching for employment. So what sort of questions do you have for me about using LinkedIn, or the things you wanted to be able to do with LinkedIn that you feel like you just don't know yet?
I have two different things, but the first one is there was on your slide about using LinkedIn for assessments when we were talking about career skills, and I was not aware of that.
Yes. So I am going to go to my profile. I am going to go down and find my skills. demonstrate skills. So not just to add skills, but to demonstrate skills. So let's say I wanted to do technical skills assessments. So I went to my profile, I went to skills, and then I went to demonstrate skills. And I can choose which of the technical skills I said I have. I can take an assessment on that, and then it shows up like a little badge in my profile. Let's pretend though that I knew I could take an assessment in LinkedIn, but I just didn't know how, because this is also really important. In LinkedIn, my toolbar is in my way that you guys can't see. In LinkedIn, I can also, from me, go to help. In help, I want to learn how to take an assessment. And then if I spelled it right, assessment. And when you spell assessment correctly, LinkedIn shows you that you can take a skills assessment. So there's all kinds of information in LinkedIn on things you might want to be able to do. Follow. I want to follow or unfollow or there's all kinds of help in here. So not that you shouldn't just reach out to me with questions, because I love answering questions and teaching people stuff, but if I'm not around, you can also ask LinkedIn for some help that way as well. So thank you. That was a great question, Doris. Other questions?
I thought the second question
Oh,
had
that's right.
or in organization or business. Suppose I wanted to do a LinkedIn page for a business that I was with. And I saw when you were going to create, it said for businesses, I think it said hit help.
Yeah,
What
so
I'm trying to understand is it then connected to an email I create with my name on it, or will it be separated like a business?
I'm assuming it would be separated like a business. I have never done it. I know that there's options for businesses, and you can look for people and develop learning solutions. But what I'm going to do is still go to help again. Right. Oh, I have to click in the box. LinkedIn page, my company, the tab. So I would sit here and just start reading through all of these. Or sometimes I find that I just get more of an overview of what each link is about if I search in Google as opposed to in LinkedIn. It's still bringing you to the same answers, just in a different place. So create a LinkedIn company page, and then it's going to bring you to that same help. So I don't know, but you can start to get more information from in there. Other questions? All right, well, I'm going to stick around for questions before you all go. So now I'm pretending that I'm actually in front of you. I'm going to hand out, we have some handouts that are going to be stored in Canvas for you that are helping folks get started in LinkedIn, checklists for what they should make sure they're creating in their profile. So when you're teaching this class, you're going to make sure that you're providing the handouts to your students. I do it at the end only because I want them to focus on the lesson first. And then the handouts are just, here's your extra information or some reminders of stuff you want to do. So you'll be able to find those in Canvas. So what I'm going to do now, Doris, is actually, if you have more LinkedIn questions, please ask them. But do you have any sort of instructional questions on teaching this class on your own?
I think for me, the question of prerequisites, is that something you put in marketing? Because what if they show up and they have not had a profile or
My
resume?
Yeah, my suggestion is, depends on how you get enrollments. If this is a session that you're going to just say it's open to the public, you would definitely in the marketing say, you must come with a resume, like just create a little blurb. And then somebody they can contact if they have questions. If you use a tool that allows people to enroll, maybe you just drop them an email from that tool and say, here's some questions I want to know. Do you have a resume? Do you have a LinkedIn account? If so, you want to make sure you know your username and password. I just find that the more stuff you have to put in marketing, the harder it is for people to pay attention to the main event, which is enrolling in the session. So if you can reach out to people after they enroll, then you can say, hey, just make sure that you have an email address. Can you get to your email on your phone? If you don't have a resume, just make sure you have some basic information about the last job or two that you had. That was a good question. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great.
They-
Anything else? I do want to say to everybody who is watching this as a recorded video versus attending the Zoom, whenever you watch a recording from any of the labor and literacy library videos and workshops, please drop an email to us at laborandliteracylibraries@plfdpl.info. Let us know who you are, what library you're from, what video or workshop you watched, because that way we can make sure you get credit, you get badged for it. Next steps, I think if you're going to run workshops on LinkedIn, it's going to be really useful for you to also have basic information on resume and cover letters, as well as interviewing. So I would recommend, even if you're not ready to run a workshop on those, to go ahead and watch those videos so that you have that information. Anything else that I can help you out with on LinkedIn or our workshop in a box? All right, well, thank you so much. It was great working with you all on LinkedIn, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you. This was really helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.